your host, Mac Atram, the business coach. And today you are in for a treat because today I have Jatinder Palaha, who I've known for many years. I'll try and recall how many years in a moment. Let me tell you a little bit about Jatinder. Hey, by the way, welcome, Jatinder. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Mac. I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for jumping onto this business success show with us to give us your knowledge. I really appreciate that. And for those who don't know Jatinder, he's a digital business coach, award-winning IT consultant, and also co-author of several books. He works with mostly coaches, consultants, experts, authors, and he's been doing that since 2008, helping them to build their website, their funnels, and also creating their systems for their business. And also his particular niche is in the personal development space, using his proprietary method, digital CMAC method, to get them great results. Now, he provides strategic advice, simple step-by-step guidance, and implementation on how to transform your skills and knowledge into, listen to this, a structured and automated coaching or consulting or author business model without the tech overwhelm, all the noise, and all the distractions that come along with that. Now, one thing that I read, which he had written, I thought, well, this is fantastic. Now, listen, if you are an expert in your industry, if you're a consultant, if you are a coach, this is what he does. He helps you to discover how to connect, influence, and inspire people online so you can build rapport, create better relationships, and serve your audience without feeling salesy. So let's get into it here. One thing you will not know, he's award-winning IT consultant. I think I said that earlier on, and also award-winning coach in terms of what he does. He's a best-selling author of the book, The Art and Science of Success. Welcome to the Business Success Show again, Jatinder. Hey, usually what I do is I like to ask people about their entrepreneurial background. So tell us how you got started in this field. And I think you've been running since 2008, right?
Yeah, that's right. Firstly, thank you, Mac. It's an honor to be on your podcast. I mean, like you said, we've known each other for years, and we'll talk about it in a moment as well, and how we met each other first. But so how I got into this space was basically what happened was we're looking back at sixth form time now, I suppose, when near the dot-com boom time of area, looking 99, 2000-ish, that kind of time, when we got into websites, all right, and just started putting things together. I put like a little front page website together. Back then, Microsoft front page was used, along with my colleague and friend, who you also know, Jazz, and we put these websites together, and we just found it fun, right? And what happened was, one of my friends in sixth form, her brother is in telecoms, and he needed a website. So she told him about us, and myself and Jazz, just for fun, we just said, let's go meet this guy. And I remember walking into his, it was like in an industrial place where they got several other, warehouse type of buildings. And we walked into, and it was this massive warehouse with like all this telecoms, communication, phones, wires, all this kind of stuff. And we sat down with him and just spoke, and he said he wanted a website. And myself and Jazz thought, okay, let's just do that. Let's put something together for him. So I remember doing the design work for it. Jazz put the kind of e-commerce bits together back then, and we made him a website, and he started selling products online.
Wow.
When we delivered the product, when we said, here it is, hey, this is how it works, and left it, we were at his house, and he gave myself and Jazz £50 each, right? Okay. And that's when we thought, wow.
But you were still at school then, right?
Yeah.
You were still at school, did this for fun.
That's right.
So when he gave you £50 each, what did you think?
We just looked at each other like we were containing our like excitement, right? I remember going back into the car, sat down, we were like, ooh, look, 50 quid back then, right? So that's how it started, because we thought, we can make money from this. This is something you can actually do to make money from. We just did it for fun because that's what we were doing at the time. So that's how we got started in it.
Wow, and never looked back since. And And I will say your service is excellent. We use your services, and hence the reason why and I've known you for many years. Let's say how we met. Did you want to say, or shall I say?
Go for it. Go for it.
Right, many years ago, in the 1990s, I was in retail management. I used to manage retail stores, and one of the stores that I was involved with, I totally didn't. Well, I did know, but Jatinder reminded me many years after when we met again, because he was still at school, but he worked as an assistant in that store. And I think, was it maybe 6 or 7 years, maybe more than that, 8 or 9 years later, we bumped into each other.
That's right.
Somewhere, and said, "Oh yeah, you used to work here. You used to work." Right." So that's how we known each other. But then you had started your business, and you've been running your business successfully then as well. And we've been in touch ever since. And the service you provide is excellent. I will say that. So let's talk about one of the things you talk about a lot across your social media and on your website is about digital rapport. What do you mean by digital rapport, and why is that important?
Yeah. Can I give a few little backstories to it? Or
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I'll explain how that came about. Basically, what happened, what first triggered it was interesting. I was in as you know, we used to do martial arts quite a bit of it, right? And I was in Sifu Lacloy's class where he was teaching JKD, which is Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's martial art, right? And I was taking up his class, and we were in the class, and we were doing an exercise. I think it was like right leg forward, right arm forward, jab, jab type of thing, right?
Right.
And as we were doing this exercise, while he was looking, I just like swapped and just started doing with the other side. And he stopped me and he said, "Jatinder, why did you do that?" And I said, "Oh, just to strengthen the other side, right?" And he said, "Yeah, that's okay, but Bruce Lee was a very big fan of making your strong side stronger." Yeah. And I thought, oh, interesting, like make your strong side stronger. And that was the first kind of seed that was planted, right?
Right.
And the second seed that kind of grew it was when I was having a conversation with another colleague, gentleman Kosuki, and we were just having a conversation, and we were talking, and he said, I don't know, we were getting into one of these philosophical, deep conversation, and he said, "Jatinder, everything in the universe is trying to be in rapport with each other." And I sat down and I thought, oh, isn't that interesting, right? And then the moment when I started to think about this was when I sat down one day and I thought, what is it that I'm doing in my business that is actually making me the money, that's actually bringing in the clients? What am I actually doing? And I sat down one day and I started looking through everything I was doing, started to hack away at the non-essentials, another Bruce Lee term, right? And started just looking at what I was doing. And I found that the reason I was able to, I think I got pretty good like close rate, if you want to call it that, when you have a conversation with someone. But the reason I was able to do that was solely because of conversation, right? Okay. So when I was actually able to chat to the person one-to-one, I would have a conversation with them. And what I realized was that I wasn't trying to sell them anything. I was just telling them what they needed to do.
Right.
And I said, okay, you've got web, you got this, you got that. This is what you need to do. And this is how it works. Right. So when they left, they were like, oh my goodness, these told me so much stuff that I didn't even think about. I need this, right? And I've had so many occasions where I've refused to work with the person and they wanted to work with me just because I gave them so much content. Right. And that's when the moment I sat down and I thought, rapport, that's what it is. It's the rapport I'm building with my clients or the people I'm connecting with.
Yeah.
It's the rapport, the conversations I'm having, understanding how they work, that's allowing me to kind of grow my business, because we've hardly ever done any advertisements, even though we're an online business, which is really interesting. Yeah. It's always been through word of mouth. That's been the key thing. And that's when I sat down one day and I thought, okay, rapport. So how do we do that online?
Okay.
Like, what are we doing offline to build rapport? And then what would we do to do that online? So then I had a little genius idea. I thought, okay, Napoleon Hill, when he went around and interviewed all these millionaires to find out what the secrets of wealth were.
Correct.
Why don't I do the same thing? Interview these experts that I know, right, and ask them what rapport is. And do you remember we had a conversation around this?
I remember, yeah.
And so that's what I started doing. So I started interviewing the experts, sat down with them like one-to-one. I said, tell me, what is rapport? How does it work? What's it all about? Or how are you utilizing it? And I just started to again, another Bruce Lee element, is try to look for the common thread. What's the common thread between these things and what's going on? So I've been working on identifying those elements to see what rapport is offline, and then basically looking, well, how do you then translate that online? What are the different things? And what we do online isn't necessarily, it's like, there's nothing necessarily new in it, but it's more deeper in like the psychology element of it as to who you're trying to target, what's your message, does it resonate with the particular people you're trying to connect with? And because you're online, it's to do with, it's like a binary engagement. When you're online, you're looking for something, it's on or off. You know, if you land on a landing page, you either have their attention or you don't. So it's like to look at those kind of things and think, well, how do we work around that? And how do you build a deeper connection with people online?
Okay.
That's how it came about.
That's okay. So you've given us the backstory on that. And the reason why that's important from your premise is that what I'm getting is the more people that get to know you, maybe trust you, and there's consistency in your message, and is singing to them, is saying the right things to them, they're more likely to buy from you if that's what they're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So would you say helping people to build digital rapport is one of your unique selling points, one of your USPs? Because I know that, yes, you create websites, you create people's funnels, yes, you can create their membership sites, yes, you can, all things digital, you can help them, your company helps them to do. So is digital rapport and getting your clients to understand that and implement that in their own systems one of your USPs?
I would say so, yeah. And the reason I say that is because I've been into like human behavior straight out of university, right? So even though I went to university, did a degree in IT information systems,
right?
And I did my dissertation. It was actually on emotional intelligence. Like, how do you assess emotional intelligence?
No, go on. You studied technology, IT, but your dissertation was on human.
Yeah.
People with like the science heads or very technical usually stay away from that more soft skills, emotional transformation type of stuff. But you was the opposite. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, carry on.
Yeah. So what happened was, when I first came across it, EQ, right? It was called emotional intelligence, known as EQ. I thought it was something like AI, artificial intelligence or something, right?
Oh.
So I thought, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to the dissertation teacher, and I said, I wanna do this particular thing. I'm interested in it. And she said, okay, no problem, go away, but write me a page as to why you want to do it. And I said, okay. So I went away, did a bit of research on what it was, found out it was by Daniel Goleman, and he basically said it's the ability to monitor your own and other people's feelings and emotions in order to use those feelings and emotions to pursue and attain goals, right? So I memorized that back then, yeah. And I then put like a little sheet together. I said what it was, why I wanted to do it, and I referenced my work. And she looked at that and said, okay, you can do this. And she said, do you know why you can do this? I said, why? Because you referenced your work. I said, okay, no problem, that's cool. So I did this, and at the end of it, I wasn't even doing computer science. I was doing IT, which is supposed to be like a bridge between business and like computing, hardcore computing kind of thing, right? So it was in the middle. So I actually ended up making a psychometric test, which was asking, multiple choice questions, which, if answered honestly, kind of thing, would give you like a score, which you can use as a how good is your emotional intelligence. And it was mainly aimed at students. Like, students were going to the workplace. Yeah. How would you measure emotional intelligence, right? So I put that together, and that's what got me into the whole personal development side of things. So I started studying personal development, went into that heavy. That's how we came across, again, the second time around, at Yes Group.
That's right. Yes.
Run that, and then, started connecting with coaches, business people. There's another story as to how that came about as well. But when I came across those things, then I thought, what I do is actually in line with my target audience. So the people I work with, I understand them. I understand where they're coming from. I understand the personal development world. So in that context, I think what I do is quite cool in that sense, because I get it. I get what both sides.
And that's very rare for a hardcore IT person to understand that softer skills, like I said earlier, on the personal development space. But because you're done this subject in your dissertation,
Yeah.
you'd actually got your head around it. And like you said, we met at the Yes Group, which is a personal development organization in London, or all over the world now. Check it out, yesgroup.org. Great organization if you're into personal development. So now it makes sense as to how you got involved in that, because we had known each other in a different realm and then suddenly meeting up again because I was deep into personal development and professional development, business development. So that's great. So tell us about the work you do for experts, coaches, consultants. What are the kind of work they're asking you for, and how do you service them? What are the services you provide?
Yeah, sure. So I just want to share how I actually made that connection to serve that industry in the first place, if that's okay.
Sure.
So there was a lady called Janet Schwitzer, and she's the marketing brains behind people like Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Les Brown, in the States. And so she had something back then, which was called How Experts Build Empires, right? So we see variations of that now, but she had it way back then, right? And so she did like a 2-day, 3-day course in the UK. She came over from the States, and it was aimed at coaches. And at that time, I was getting interested in coaching and, you know, what is it? Am I going to go into the coaching field? What am I doing? I was at a split road in a way.
Got it.
And she started talking about squeeze pages, sales funnels, information products, and all these kind of things. I was in her workshop where I connected the dots. A penny dropped for me, thinking, IT, personal development, bridge the gap.
Right.
That's the industry I want to work with. Right. So, and literally 2 weeks later, we started, I started working with them. Do you remember a gentleman called Ron Holland, who was the...
Yes, Ron Holland, I remember him. Yeah, great guy.
So that's how I came across him. It was just, came about. And to answer your question about what we started doing back then was, so Ron was a author and a business coach, and he had several books. And when we came across him, he had all the content, but he didn't have the systems. Right. So we started to build the system. This was the early days. So we actually made a very basic autoresponder system as well. But had we known how big the industry was going to be, that could have been a whole different...
Yeah, that could have been a business on its own. Aweber, MailChimp, all that kind of... You'd have been one of those big boys.
That's right. And we didn't know any of that. We thought we have to make these. Yes. So Jazz ended up helping me create this system. We put like a squeeze page together,
right?
Put the PDFs in there, download it, followed up with a single autoresponder at the time, just to get him going, right? And we started hustling in a way as well, and started building his mailing list. That's how it originally started. We're building his mailing list, grew a massive mailing list, and we got it to a stage where regularly we were doing monthly events with Ron, on a boat in central London. People come down, he's coaching and whatnot. And that's how it kind of started, and then we just branched from there. So the work we've done has been very... It's not like we haven't scaled it so everybody's involved. It's more been like, I've worked with an individual for years. That makes sense.
Right.
So I've worked with like these individuals over the years and helping them grow their coaching.
It's been very organic,
That's right.
There's an expert, they approach you, they know their subject matter, they know their topic very well, but the digital side of things, they know they need to get involved with, but they haven't got a clue. That's where you come in. Or maybe they just haven't got the time to do it. And why should they split their time onto something that's going to take them years to develop, which you understand very, very well. Okay, so you started to grow organically. I get it. Yeah, good.
That's right. So organically we started growing. And over the years, so that developed into what I call the digital CMAC method, right? Which, so originally when we started off, people used to come up to us for websites. We would do a website. It was fine with a logo, content, number page, all that kind of stuff, general stuff. It changed after the Janet Schwitzer situation, but at that stage it was like that. Then what happened was we used to monitor everybody's websites, right? As you do with stats and statistics and whatnot. And we used to look at what's working, who's doing well and who's not doing well, and why are the people that are doing well. And we started to look at the whole complete system as to what they have, right? And they what I basically identified was there's kind of 12 key components that they, at the end of it, they end up having, right? And out of those 12 key components, a website is usually component number 6.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the number 6. So when people used to come to us, we looked at it and think, okay, you got a website, but you haven't got the stuff that goes after it and the stuff that's supposed to come before it.
Interesting.
Right? So we broke it down. So I worked on it backwards from, okay, you got a website, what comes before a website? And it kind of became what I call it, like I said, the DSMAC method, which is basically strategy, implementation, marketing, assess, and calibrate. Yeah.
Okay.
So it basically, shall I go over the 12 steps quickly?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. You know, we've got people watching, we've got people listening. So yeah, go for it. You know, that's why we bring you as an expert on. Give us something that, you know, we could get our teeth into and say, hey, actually, I'm doing that. Oh no, I don't understand that. Or I'm doing that. It's not working. But, you know, here you're the expert. Go for it.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just quickly share something which I'll connect back in a bit as well. So for example, people go out, they do social media, putting all these videos, content out there, putting so much out there, and then they think it doesn't work. Like they're churning it, they're getting, you know, put energy and effort into it, and it's not working. And what I say to them, did you know that actually social media is like step 8? And they're like, oh, really? So what comes before that? So if you break it down, so you look at the strategy stage first, right?
Yeah.
So you got online and offline. Yeah. So this is where the digital rapport side of it comes as well, because you got the two elements of like online and offline, human and machine, bringing them together. Right. And if you look at the strategy stage, the first stage, as you know, is something we spoke about when we did our interview as well, was that it's the problem. It's like, what problem are you solving in the industry? Yeah. You know, what is the problem, and what's your niche around that you can work? So that's literally step 1. You have to work and figure out what problem are you solving in the industry, right? Yeah. That's step 1. That covers things like your problem, your potentially what other people are doing out there, your research, all that kind of stuff, right? And then step 2 is your actual solution, right? And some people refer it to as a signature system. Some people have courses. You know, it's your solution to fix that problem.
Right.
Bruce Lee used to say economy of motion, right? The fastest route from point A to point B. And he used to say straight line, yeah, is the quickest route. So all of this stuff, when we identified it, it said, well, if you're going to start from scratch, what would you do to start from scratch to get the fastest result, and in what order? So this is kind of works in order. So you got your problem, you got your solution, then you got your business model. Yeah. So the business model would be, you know, looking at your packages, you look at your SWOT analysis, your vision, mission, but all that kind of stuff falls into the business stage of it. So that's your first 3 in the strategy stage. Once you've figured that out, that this is your strategy, this is your products, your solution, your niche and whatnot, then you get into the implementation phase. Now you implement that strategy, right? Okay. And the implementation starts with step 4, which is your branding. So you know, your branding, what's that, your colors, all that kind of stuff, your key core values and everything else that comes with that. And then the next step from that would be basically your squeeze pay sales funnel, like a simple sales funnel. And I'll come back to that in a moment, because if you want to test the industry, that's how you can do it, is build a quick sales funnel. Yeah. Right? And then basically build out the rest of it. So that's step 5. Then it's step 6, which is your website. Yeah. And so when you've got that done, that's your implementation stage. Now you can focus on marketing, right? So the next step up on the marketing would be content. Like, what kind of content are you doing, right? Are you doing now you look at your blogs, now you look at your video content and your social media and all that kind of stuff. Then we say traffic. And what we mean by traffic is 2 sources, paid and organic. Right. And then step 9 is, so that's step 8. Step 9 is tracking. You've got to make sure you track all of it. Yeah. So that's the online side of it. And then when you go offline, you have strategy, implementation, marketing again. And offline strategy is basically your networking. Okay. Networking events and things like that. Your implementation would be live events. So when you're actually attending live, you know, you're doing live events, and that could include Zoom and things like that as well. So live events is your implementation. And then you have your marketing side, which is what we call media. So in media, it would PR, getting on other people's podcasts and blogs and all that kind of stuff, right? So that basically builds up the 12 steps. So if you go in that order, you pretty much would cover what every business ends up having. But if you're stuck, you look at it and think, well, okay, I've got a website. Yeah. You know, I haven't got a funnel. I've got my branding. So, you know, you got 2 of your implementation bits. You may not have looked at your niche properly. So you need to check into that. You see how you can actually start looking at what's missing from your business and start to work on that.
Yeah, I think what you just said there as well, clearly there's a methodology that you're using. Fantastic. There's a framework that people can use. And here's the thing, someone might be good at an element of it, but haven't got a clue how to do these other things.
Yep.
And so that's where they need you. For those people, for anyone who's thinking, how do I connect with Jatinder Palaha? What's the best way for them to connect with you or find out more information on all this stuff here?
Yeah, if they wanted to, they can reach out by going to jatinderpalaha.com.
Okay.
Or just if they Google Digital Rapport, they'll actually get the Digital Rapport podcast where I start to talk about these things in a bit more detail as well.
All right. Well,
that's where our interview that we did is on.
Is on there. The interview with me is on there. Fantastic. Very, very good. All right. So we will we'll add this. We'll add the link on here so people can see it as well, which is fantastic. So when you take people through these steps, and clearly I'm sure it becomes an eye-opener for them. Oh, yeah, I've heard about this, but really they have no clue as to how all this stitches together, how this all comes together. And how have you found the results clients have got when they've used someone else? Hasn't gone so well. They come to you, and what's happened?
So what happens is when people, before they come to us, they tend to be in a state of, like you said, a bit of confusion, all over the place, a bit of noise going on. They don't know what to do because there's so much stuff that they can potentially be doing, right?
Yeah.
And this 12-step that I showed, I've actually got like a visual diagram of it as well. So when you look at it, you know, the brain works in pictures. When you look at a picture, it makes it clear. It's very clear the path you have to take. So that just having that gives them like a reference point to say, well, okay, I'm not going to do social media yet because I haven't got my sales funnel sorted yet. So I need to work on that first. I haven't got my sales funnel sorted, or I haven't got I don't even know what my messaging is, you know, so I need to work on that. So when they look at these things and think, okay, let's work on the things that are not in place, then everything else just seems to fall into place, you know? So when they talk to, they know the audience they're going to talk to, they know what message they need to deliver, they know the solution they have. It starts to go from almost like everyone thinks you need to have like thousands and thousands of followers online when you don't. You only need key people. You can be doing a very successful business with a couple of hundred people in your business, you know, and it's about working with those people as opposed to going for what's the word? Go for quality over quantity, right?
Yeah, quality over quantity. Yes, yes.
That's how I feel. Like when they see where they are, what's missing, and they can visually see what's going on.
Yeah,
I think that just helps them there. I mean, I've had people that have done that, and good or bad, I don't know, haven't even come back to me afterwards saying, I know exactly what I need to do. Thank you so much. And they've got on with it. Right. So I'm like, cool. And then I say, well, anything you need help with, just let us know. And
yeah, and you've always been like that. You're very much a giver. Someone from the heart. You just give, and some want to work with you, like you said. If they don't, then it's fine. But I'm sure at some point they come back to you and say, they ask for more information. So that's fantastic. I'm going to come over to you in a minute for your last words. So you're listening to the Business Success Show with me, Mac Antrim, the business coach, and the digital marketing expert, digital rapport expert, Jatinder Palaha, dropping golden nuggets. And if your digital presence is not where it needs to be in terms of you getting the right number of leads, getting the right number of clients, making more money online, then you need to speak to Jatinder Palaha. So like this particular podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, smash the like button, let us know what you think, put some comments in as well so we can see what is it you enjoyed about this, what questions you have, so that we know what other experts to bring to you. So on that note, Jatinder, again, thank you for being here on the Business Success Show. Any last words, any other inputs you want to give before we start wrapping up in a moment?
Yeah, I was just going to say the most powerful thing you can do to avoid the noise online, right, is to manage your own expectations. And what I mean by that is it's very easy to get caught up in clickbait content and stuff that goes out there, overnight riches, this, that, and the other.
Right.
Any successful business person, you've said this many times, you got to put the hard work in, you got to put the energy and effort in. And so try not to get distracted just because you've seen a new software come along. and you think you need it because it's going to solve everything. It's not, right? The software.
And you've tested a lot of them as well.
That's right. That's right. All of them. I test all of them, you know, because we have to stay on top of it just to see what works. Right. But yeah, I think that's what it is. Just try not to get distracted. Focus on one thing and give it enough time, you know, implement it and give it enough time to actually work for you, because otherwise you just get caught in the noise. Just one thing on that, that one of the phrases that I use a lot of the time is that if you make noise in a crowd, no one's going to hear you, right? But if you go outside of the crowd and you shout, heads are going to turn, right?
Wow.
That's what I say is the best thing to do. Don't make noise in the crowd, in the noise. Just add to it.
Wow. That's a great analogy right there. That's fantastic. Well, thank you very much. Again, you've been listening to Jatinder Palaha, the Digital Rapport Coach. If you are in need of any digital marketing help or support, that's what his business does, BigFanta and Digital Rapport. You're listening to Mac Hatram here, business coach. Again, if you need any help, just reach out. If there's any particular experts you want us to bring for you, then make sure you just contact us or put it in the comment box. Please make your comments, like, share, and also subscribe where necessary or follow where necessary. Mac Hatram, until we speak again, take care. Much love, God bless, take care, and speak soon. Bye for now. Thank you, Jatinder. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.